It was very hard. I mean, I wasn't making any money. I actually, because of what it was that my mom was going through, I was living in LA at the time. I ended up basically sacrificing my LA life and moving back to New York to be closer to my mom, to tend to her, and to, in essence, become a caregiver of sorts, not the primary caregiver, but to help out with her. And this is what I was going to say. So I also, at a certain point, realized that I had something that very few civilians have, and that is media credentials. And so really early on, I realized that I could exploit my media credentials. I wasn't famous, but I had been on TV. I was verified on Twitter. And I started reaching out to researchers and scientists whose work I had been reading to ask questions and to essentially get in the room with them, so to speak, to be able to, if there were any lingering questions or I needed, something clarified or what have you. And I ended up forging relationships with these researchers because they saw the passion that I had for understanding this topic, the relative dearth of awareness that there was around, dementia as a potentially preventable condition. And yeah, that was a journey that began at this point over 10 years ago. But yeah, it's been incredibly fruitful in the sense that not only have I been able to write these 3 books, but I actually got to collaborate with one of my mentors in science, Richard Isaacson, who's he's a neurologist at Weill Cornell, New York Presbyterian, who from day one has been, really pushing this idea of
What's
dementia.
his name?
Richard Isaacson.
Richard, would he be a good guest?
Oh, he's phenomenal. Yeah, he's a
neurologist? He's
a neurologist who essentially helped to create the field that is now referred to as dementia prevention. Back when nobody was talking about back before the notion of being able to prevent this condition was even thought of as a possibility. It was something that he was really advocating for and studying and raising funding for these clinical trials that he himself had run. And so I got to collaborate on a paper with him.
Oh yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah, published by Springer in 2019. It was a chapter in a textbook on basically an overview review, looking at the clinical practice of dementia prevention and making that accessible to other clinicians.